I lost my only sister at a very tender age. She was 21 years old, and that was the turning point in my life. Homeostasis. It's a big word. All it means is to bring the body back into its original state.
Once you have a cut on your body, you don't do much about it. You just leave it. In a couple of days, it's already start to heal and it's fully healed, the skin replaced.
I know that I was struggling for years before I started discovering that there is something beyond mainstream medicine. There is something beyond the pill, Kashif. But when it comes to the human body, it's not about counting calories. It's about counting your blessings.
Adnan, welcome to Biz Talk. How do you feel today?
It's a privilege to be here. I've seen a lot of big names seated on this seat, so I'm honored and excited with your experience, and you have had interviewed so many people, and for me to be here, it's a great honor.
It's a great honor for me as well to invite you and to learn lots of things from you, about your business. And I know it's when we talk about business, we don't only talk about numbers, we don't only talk about the targets, but we have a bigger purpose behind the business. And I know you, and you have got very big purpose and the mission behind what you are doing.
Well, Kashif, I don't know about how big it is, but I know that there is certainly purpose behind it. And that purpose begins with my own life's challenges. So there is certainly a purpose behind it. That's for sure.
So let's delve into discussing the first question. What actually inspired you to transition with your corporate training, because you had been doing the corporate training, and I believe you are still doing it, to founding AF Wellness? That's the name of your company.
Yeah. So the whole thing started off when I had a tragedy with my own life. Everybody's got their own share of tragedies, and not to say that mine was unique, but it was unique in a way that it was transformational for me. I lost my only sister at a very tender age. She was 21 years old, and that was the turning point in my life. I started to realize at that point that I was always into fitness, and I would go to the gym, and but after the tragedy, my health started to deteriorate at a very rapid pace, Kashif. And what that meant was I was constantly dealing with fatigue. I was constantly dealing with depression. I was constantly dealing with brain fog, all of the classical symptoms of the stuff that we'll hopefully talk about later. But having gone to multiple doctors, I couldn't find answers. So that marked the journey started the journey for where I am right now. So I decided that, if I have been through a discovery myself, why not to share it with other people? So it was just a moment, as we were talking before, off the record, we were talking about a turning point. So that was the whole thing when I started that, people need to understand and learn about the things that they don't get answers to, even when they go to doctors, unfortunately.
I would say, of course, your practical experiences, basically the trauma which you went through, brought you to this. So I would like to know more for myself and, of course, for my audience to understand what AF Wellness specializes in, because I have heard you speaking quite a lot about functional medicine. You talk about holistic health. So could you share more about what you specialize in AF Wellness?
Yeah. So functional medicine is a holistic way of bringing the body back into its original state. And the beautiful thing, Kashif, about bringing the body back into balance is that we use a term in science, we call it homeostasis. It's a big word. All it means is to bring the body back into its original state, which simply means giving the body what it requires and keeping things as natural as possible. So functional medicine is all about restoring the body's balance, lowering inflammation, which is rampant in today's day and age. It's about giving the body the nutrients that it needs, because the tragedy, if I can talk just just a little bit about nutrition, is that our foods are full of calories and absolutely deficient of nutrients. So giving the body what it needs, and obviously no discussion could be complete without talking about stress resilience and giving people the capability to regulate the emotional aspect. So when you put all of these things together, you come into a state of balance, homeostasis, a state of optimal, if that can be something easily understood.
Yeah. When you talk about that these days in our diet, we talk about maybe we are getting calories, but not nutrients. So how would you explain it further?
That?
Yeah.
Okay, so the simplest example is a donut has 200 calories, and so does a piece of meat. For example, a piece of beef, let's say 100-gram steak, right? So they're both have the same amount of calories. But even a layman knows that if you were to eat donuts every single day, what kind of an impact would that have on your health? Having sugar and having white flour, having processed food. So if you look at just the caloric content, they're pretty much the same. But in terms of the nutrient profile, the amount of vitamins and minerals a 200-calorie steak would provide you is so very different. So the whole idea is to spread awareness for people to understand that it's, in business maybe it would be about numbers, but when it comes to the human body, it's not about counting calories. It's about counting your blessings. Right. It's about counting how much the food is going to impact you, and not just being so bogged down with this is 150 calories or 100 calories, which is unfortunately what the world is all about these days as far as nutrition is concerned.
Yeah, in a way you're right, but when we talk about the conventional medicine, the approach they take is they also talk about like what kind of a food you should take and what you shouldn't take. So how would you differentiate with your way of medicine, that is functional medicine or the conventional medicine?
So we are just talking about keeping things as natural and simplifying things. We're saying eat food in its purest form. Eat ingredients, for example. So the more processed it has, so if you were to go to a supermarket and look at any packaged food, just turn the box around and look at the ingredient side. There's a simple rule. We say that if your grandmother cannot understand the names of the ingredients, don't have it. Because in those days, nobody knew. In these days, for example, there are about 35 names by which they are naming sugar, right? So the whole idea is that all these chemicals, all these emulsifiers, all these artificial flavors and colorings, they have consequences, and those consequences have started becoming evident in our health these days, which is what, unfortunately, mainstream medicine is trying to do. It's trying to cure everything through a pill, which is certainly not working.
Right. So in your way of treating people, you say or you believe that it's not only about giving the pills, but giving the right food as the right nutrients, and that heals a body and a person. And what other things, what are the major problems people must look into, or you advise them to look into, because you believe they are the root cause of all other problems? Because I have heard you talking about thyroid, you have been talking about gut, So,
Yeah.
what is the relation and what are those things people should be much more aware of?
That's a good question. Basically, you see, the human body is it's a very intelligent system. There are multiple systems in the body. They're working together, and the whole idea, Kashif, is that when you give the body what it needs, it starts to function properly. So, for example, let's talk about, you mentioned the gut, right? So, there is, we call a state called gut inflammation, which means the body, gut is where food gets absorbed, right? So, if your body's ability to absorb nutrients is compromised because of inflammation, no matter food you eat, whatever food you eat, if your body cannot absorb the nutrients, it's going to start becoming a breeding ground for disease, because it will eventually lead into nutrient deficiencies. So, for example, when you have vitamin D deficiency, your immunity is low. When you have vitamin C deficiency, again, your body becomes a breeding ground for bacteria and viruses. When your body is not absorbing enough calcium, you get weak bones. So that is what we're working on. We're trying to tell people that, listen, it's about addressing the root cause and not just curing the symptom on the surface. Because once you look at the root cause and you work on improving those systems, the symptoms at the surface, Kashif, they will take care of themselves. So, for example, if somebody is having fatigue, for example, right? So, when you start improving gut health, right, by simple things, and we can talk about that, your fatigue starts taking care of itself. You don't need so much of caffeine. You don't need so much of any other thing that is going to help you, or you have to pop a pill so that you can get by the day, because so many people are fatigued these days. So that is the whole idea.
So, you must have worked with so many people, those who are struggling with chronic fatigue, or they have got the weight loss issue or some other issues. So, would you like to share some experiences and examples from your own practice?
Yes. And I was hoping you'd ask the question. There've been so many success stories, and it's so heartening, because you see, going back to my own challenges and my struggles, you see, I know that I was struggling for years before I started discovering that there is something beyond mainstream medicine. There is something beyond the pill, Kashif. And when we see people improving their symptoms in a matter of weeks, be it fatigue, be it depression, be it brain fog, Kashif, be it slow metabolism, it's really heartening to see how people are improving, and they're coming in. People have started to understand that it is not just about the pill, because we can see that despite taking medications, the symptoms remain. So now, with all this, and we're living in this day and age of information, so people have started to understand that there could be something beyond, and that's where they've started to explore. And that's where holistic medicine comes in. So, numerous people, Kashif, I would love to name them, but I can't, because one of the interesting things is that when you put the body back into homeostasis, when you put it back into balance, the entire chain, the entire system seems to get better. Whereas if you contrast this with allopathy or mainstream medicine, you take a pill for one thing, and that medicine has side effects. So in order to now because you're taking that pill and now you have those side effects, now you have to pop some other pill to suppress those side effects. But when you are treating the body naturally, Kashif, what tends to happen is the things that you didn't come to me for, even those things start to get better. So we've had people come to us for slow metabolism, and somehow their brain fog is going away. People coming to us for lowering their elevated insulin or sugar levels, and their cholesterol levels are starting to get better. Their blood pressure is starting to get better. How is that happening? It's not magic. It's just you're bringing the body back into balance. When you lower inflammation, when you give it balance, it starts to take care of itself.
This is so beautiful, the system which the divine has created. I mean, the body, the homeostasis state, it creates the balance. The only thing is you have to inject, you have to, how would you say, you have to take something right just to bring it into balance.
Yeah.
Just put the right weight in the balance just to
Yeah.
make it balance. So, and then your body wants that to remain in the homeostasis state
Yes.
most of the time. But still what we do, because people, they do not have much know-how and knowledge about this. And now you are creating this awareness that just balancing everything in your body, then you can heal your problems, your diseases or any problems. Not that you have to take one medicine, and in order for you to cure yourself for one problem, then you are making another problem for you in your life. And then you take another medicine because of the side effects or the after effects. And if I ask you, share a story of someone who has really gone through this holistic approach of your treatment and it transformed their life.
Well, I certainly remember one client of ours, and she came to us, and the case was that she was not able to conceive. And that is somehow, it was maybe about 8 months ago, maybe about 9 months ago, having her struggles, really frustrated. And so she had what we call Hashimoto's. Now, Hashimoto's is a form of thyroid disorder. So, and one of the things that tend to happen when you have Hashimoto's is that your ability to conceive is greatly compromised with elevated antibodies and so forth. And so she was going from one treatment to the other. She'd gone to even IVF. She was starting to explore that as well. And I clearly remember the 4 months, if I'm not mistaken, that she spent with us. I still remember the picture that she sent to us of her newborn baby, and it was so heartening. It's one thing to look at it as a business, yes, but the other flip side is the joy and the inner satisfaction you get when you help people, because somebody once said that the secret to living is giving.
Yeah.
And when you put a smile on someone's face, it somehow brings joy to you. And so that is one distinct, because when you asked me, so it's one of those moments that I can never forget, because when my team shared, the newborn baby's picture, and it was almost a very emotional moment for myself and for my team. Yeah. So
Brilliant.
yeah.
So can we say this, or I should ask you actually, so AF Wellness has grown quite big in last 3 years. So what strategies or unique propositions or the strategies which you gave that contributed to this success?
Well, our ethos, Kashif, is to genuinely provide a ton of value. That is where the whole thing comes out from.
Yeah.
And I can tell you with conviction like the back of my hand, every day when we have a discussion with the team, I'm here in Dubai, and this is what we talk about. How do we solve a client's problem? What is she going through? I mean, for example, if we were to talk about stress, and for somebody who's not being able to adopt a new lifestyle, how do we approach that? How can we serve the person better? So it's all about evolving as we go along, but some things remain, and that is when a client comes through and each person will present their own unique challenges, their own beliefs, their own opinions, right? So how do we treat that as a person and not just generalize based on just this one pill that you have to take just because you have elevated blood sugar, for example? We'll go into We'll study their routine, Kashif. We'll look at their lifestyle. We'll look at the root causes that are hidden within her psychology, will be hidden within her current lifestyle, and we'll try to help her from that angle. And when that change happens, like I said earlier on, because it's a root cause approach. When you fix the root cause, everything at the surface, it begins to change in a beautiful, sustainable way.
What role do you think education plays in making your clients understand about the importance of cure versus prevention?
That's a really good question. I believe there is still a big part of the population. They are still wanting instant gratification. They still think that everything is in a pill. Although the awareness is coming in, but I do feel that it is something that's still going to take time, because we've been so convinced by the pill mentality that I feel that people are still looking for doctors as the custodians of health, which they are. I don't mean any disrespect, but I always believe that it should be the second step, not the first step. Let's give the body what it needs. Let's lower inflammation. Let's see where the effects of stress have become evident. When you start working on that, most of the cases, when you give it a little bit of time, like I said, the body tends to self-heal. And one of the easiest example is what happens when you get a bruise. Superficially, when you cut yourself. You don't do anything, and you just give it a few days, a few weeks. The wound will heal itself, right? And then if you give it a few more weeks, even the scar goes away. What did the body just do? It heals itself. So if it can heal itself superficially, why can't it heal itself
Absolutely.
on the inside?
And this is so beautiful. Once again, I'm always so much in love with the concept of homeostasis, that the God has created this within our body for the self-healing, and we have never been taught about it. You gave a beautiful example of a cut. Once you have a cut on your body, you don't do much about it. You just leave it in a couple of days. It's already start to heal, and it's fully healed. The skin replaced. The whole body works in the same way.
Yeah.
The only thing is, because this is the balancing system, which is already inbuilt in us, but we are not letting it function properly, because we keep giving it the wrong things to create more imbalance, and then get sick. And then we go to the doctors and get the pills and try to fix it. And then by fixing one problem, then move into the another problem. Yeah. But more and more people are getting educated about this holistic approach, and the way you mentioned that you are not only taking care of only the problem area, but the whole lifestyle, what they are living, what they are doing, what they are eating, how they are sleeping. Every pattern you must be checking before.
Yeah.
So before you suggest them something. But people are still looking for instant gratification. They need quick fix in everything for the health, no matter what side effects are there. Yeah. So is it easy for you to make them understand that why it takes longer time for you, and why it is better system for you if you go for this holistic approach than the conventional medicine system?
Yeah. This is a challenge that we face, because when you're trying to heal naturally, it certainly takes time. When the body's self-healing, when you're giving it the right environment, when you're giving it the right nutrients. So it takes a little bit of time. So for example, when you're trying to heal the gut, for example, right? You have GI issues. Maybe you have bloating or gas, or you have fatigue, or So when you give the body the right foods, for example, when you're giving it probiotic and prebiotic foods, for example, it'll take a few weeks before the positive signs tend to show up. So rather than taxing the body with more and more antibiotics, right? Which is, something that is designed to destroy the bacterial colony in the gut, be it good bacteria or bad bacteria, right? So what, instead of just giving the body something that is going to destroy good bacteria alongside, and that in itself is going to take 6 months, Kashif, for good bacteria to colonize again. So imagine, as opposed to giving the body just a ton of good bacteria and giving it a little bit of time for it to heal, which is going to not just benefit you there and then, but the benefit is going to continue because you've healed your gut rather than just immediately just giving it a pill, and that is going to have a lot of effects. Now you know that somebody who's had a high dose antibiotics, how do they feel? So that's the analogy.
Do you see the challenge in explaining and making these people understand about it? Like it's going to take some time, or it's easy for them to understand and pick up what you're saying? And if you face these challenges, how do you overcome it?
Well, we have to certainly leave it to people for them to decide for themselves, right? We can only provide information.
That's the job of a coach.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's a life coach or
there you go. So
medicine.
we have to. It's their prerogative. It's their right. So if they can connect with the whole idea, and I would personally much rather work with somebody who's somewhat inclined to the idea of holistic healing, rather than building somebody's belief up right from the ground, because that takes more time, that takes more energy. So there is, like I said, there is a great population which is still struggling with the idea. They still think that this is something that is not validated enough. It needs more time. So each to his own, Kashif.
Right. That's very good. That one thing is there, of course, people are getting more and more aware these days.
Yeah.
So whether it comes to the functional medicine, it comes to sound healing, meditation, or people that are doing different kind of a healing. Spirituality is coming into place as well. So the people are getting more and more aware that just the functional medicine is not the solution.
Yeah, absolutely.
And but that makes it your job easier to explain to your clients probably. And then you have to qualify for the person that how much he or she is willing to understand and take your advice, because your way of treating is different. And if you find that they have got a hard head, not willing to understand, do you just let them go, or what do you do?
Yeah, well, you see, the human mind is beautiful and strange at the same time. We work on addressing core beliefs, and these beliefs are, they're very hard to crack, Kashif. They're very hard to crack.
Because that's why they are beliefs.
Yeah, that's why they are beliefs, and they are the driving forces. So once we're able to change those core beliefs through logic, through sharing information, people tend to question their core beliefs, and once those beliefs, once they begin to become a bit open, I wouldn't say change, because that doesn't happen immediately for a lot of people, but once they do, I think that's when they start the whole process of putting them into a new direction, if that's what I can say. So, for example, there's a quote that we use in holistic medicine, and I talk to my patients, and clients about that a lot. We say, when medicine, when food is good, medicine is of no need, but when food is bad, medicine is something that you'll have to work with.
Right.
So it's just something that we teach people, that food is the central theme of it all. Yeah.
Adnan, what advice would you give to someone who is overwhelmed and feel they have got health and they feel challenged and don't know where to start? So what advice would you give to such people?
I think it's to start small, keeping expectations low, because I believe the gap between execution and expectations is frustration. A lot of people work with a perfectionist all or none mindset.
Yeah.
You know, impatience is also certainly one of them. So I believe the right approach is to have at least the mindset in the right place. Wherever the mind goes, the body follows. So a great part of my coaching is to initially work on adopting the same mindset. I usually say, it's always 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. So in life we all face challenges and struggles. Nothing is perfect, right? So instead of looking at the 2 steps back, which we all see as defeat, see that the net result is you've still 1 step ahead of where you were, right? So as you take these baby steps, give yourself some time, allow yourself to heal. The symptoms start to get better when you begin this journey. So they start reinforcing. That is that 1 step in the right direction. So the right mindset, the right direction, these things start to reinforce the person, and in a matter of weeks, before they realize it, things are starting to really work out for them, which they've been, we've had certain people struggling with these issues for years, Kashif, and we've been able to bring about change and help them become better versions of themselves and heal their inflammation and their issues in a matter of weeks.
Very nice. And looking ahead, what's your vision for AF Wellness, and how you plan to impact more lives in the coming years?
Well, one of them is being on your podcast more
Yes.
frequently.
So one box ticked.
Yes. That is, so it's just about, I've been, been looking at other avenues where the more we can spread this knowledge and the better it will be. So social media certainly helps. So it's just creating more and more impact by giving more and more results. I think that is the best way, because people, when they see results, that's when they want to try it out. Otherwise, it's just knowledge and information.
Very interesting, Adnan, that more and more people, they're getting aware about it. Not only the normal people, but even the doctors, they're leaving their conventional medicines and they're getting into this holistic approach. And I have podcasts with some of the doctors. They have already decided that after 1 year or 2 years, they are going to just shift themselves from this style to that style. So, our responsibility is to make people understand that they have got this strength in themselves to cure themselves, and better to prevent any problems to come to their lives, rather than they get sick and after that they go and get the doctor's pills and
whatnot. Yes.
Yeah.
They always say an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So it's just that.
So you're doing great job, and I think our job is to create more and more awareness and make people understand that what is good for them, and don't make them sick. I mean, I think you're playing a big role, playing your responsibility, and you're doing very well. I really congratulate you on that.
Thank you. We're trying to do our best. Thank you very much.
So what if people want to contact you and they want to learn more, or they want to take your advice? So how would you like to be contacted?
Well, they can certainly look me up. I'm on Instagram, Adnan Health Coach. We'll put it up in the comments, and somebody, if they want to reach out, they can leave a comment, in your
Podcast.
Okay. And we can certainly leave our contact numbers with you as well. So it's on Instagram. It's Adnan Health Coach, and then they can either contact you, and then
That sounds very good. And if somebody from our audience wants to take this advantage to approach you through your Instagram, then will they be getting any benefit?
Oh yeah, of course. I think they can. We talked about that. So Explore Hayat is what they need to mention, and when they reach out to us, and certainly they'll get a 10% discount.
Brilliant. Sounds good. So 10% discount I secured for all of you, and I hope so. And at the same time, if they want to approach you, to contact you, they can just write their mobile number in the comments below, and your team will be contacting them.
Yes.
And this is how they can start.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, contacting. Sounds very good. Thank you very much for being our guest today.
It's a pleasure being here. I'm honored. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Biz Talk. We hope Adnan's insights gave you a fresh perspective on taking control of your health and well-being. If you are dealing with health challenges or simply want to live a healthier, more balanced life, AF Wellness could be a great place to start. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and share this episode with someone who might benefit from it. Until next time, stay inspired and keep growing.